Okay, thank you very much. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ben Addy. I'm the audiovisual team leader at BASPA University. And this is my presentation, which is called Agency Through Choice, Supporting Student Creativity with the Constraints. This subject is something that's very important to me. My employment history, my career has been built around working with students to manage and create creative events, specifically in the theatre and live events background. But I've also done a lot of work in working in creative media, particularly in journalism at the University of Sheffield. And then I moved into educational technology at BASPA University in 2023. And I now lead and manage the AV team. So my main background has been as a technician, and the main part of my job has been supporting student assessments and managing technical facilities. And I've often found myself in a position where I've had to advise students on how to achieve creative visions in their creative projects. So what I want to talk to you about today happened right back at the start of my career, way back in 2015, where I was at the University of Sheffield in their theatre department. And a group of students were doing a production of Henry V, and as part of their assessment, they were asked to build three large flats, which are, if you don't know what they are, basically the big kind of screens that stand up vertically, and then the performers usually hide behind them. This was the brief that the students were given, so they decided that they wanted to build 3 metal flats covered with corrugated metal sheets. The total size of these flats was 4 meters by 6 meters, and the flats had to be able to be broken down into sections for ease of transportation. So the implications of all this were that students were required to work from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. outside of their scheduled lesson time in order to manufacture these flats, and they were also required to move the flats from the workshop to the performance venue, which was about maybe a 15-20 minute walk round the corner. So it was during this project that one of the students said to me, Ben, we've been doing this for ages. Can you not do it for us? We are paying your wages. Now, I must point out, if I can't see your faces, but before everybody gets too shocked, she did say it in a kind of joking, sarcastic kind of way, and we did have that kind of rapport with each other. But the reason that it's kind of stuck with me, as I say, this happened back in 2015. The reason it stuck with me for the best part of 10 years is because the big question that came out of it was, was everybody who was involved in the project aware of the expectations, and did they agree with those expectations? So how much say did the students have over the process? Were they actually at choice, or did they decide they were going to do something and then somebody told them, right, you need to then do this? And what limitations were placed on their creativity? So the limitations that I've come across in particular from my experience are limitations on time. Can the students actually invest the time into the project that they want to create? Do support staff have the time to support it? Are the financial resources in place? Have they asked for something that's going to cost £3,000 or £4,000, but they've only got a budget of £100? What other kind of resources are available? So these might be things like spaces. This might be, again, support technicians. Do we have enough support technicians to support the project? Also, do we have the prerequisite skills in-house to be able to deliver on the project? Are we having to bring in external practitioners, external contractors, all of those kind of questions? So with all of these limitations, when a student asks a member of staff for help to achieve a vision, is there a discussion about these limitations, or does the member of staff offer a prescribed outcome? So just to illustrate, the main point that I want to make is that if the students are given a predetermined choice, a supporter will give the students a solution based on their own knowledge of limitations, their experiences of working in similar processes, etc., and therefore only offer one solution. What I would like to propose is an alternative by empowering choice. So if we sit down with our students and have a discussion with them about all the limitations, we can then engage in a creative process which leads to a range of solutions that the students can then choose from. And it creates a space for options to be discussed and to be worked through creatively within the limitations. Now, I have tried to apply this throughout my working life, but there are a couple of pitfalls for supporters that I would like to just point out as well. So one of the biggest pitfalls is everybody falls back onto familiar ways of working, i.e. we've always done it this way, so why would we change it? We know it works, we can do it in our sleep, it doesn't require retraining. It's a very, very common pitfall that I've come across. Conversely, not being open to new solutions, immediately shutting down any kind of discussion because it's a bit different or it's a bit new or you're trying to introduce something a bit too quickly. Offering an easier option. So we've all had situations where we've had more workload to deal with than we have had time to do it in. So we try to rush things through. Oh, well, the easiest way to do it would be to just do it this way. Not having enough time to discuss the options with colleagues or students. Working with difficult people. I will let you interpret that one as you will, but I'm sure we've all had people that have been a bit more difficult to work with than others. But all of these factors allow limitations to dictate choices rather than allowing us to explore within the limitations. So I've spoken a lot about supporters and pitfalls, but where does the agency come into this conversation? So agency is a result of the action of someone or something. So by giving colleagues and students information about limitations and the freedom to explore within them, they will have a greater control over their creativity. The agency comes through staff and students having the ability to have an effect on the work they create, and that is through the empowered choices that they are able to make, which is through information about limitations and the freedom to explore, which leads to agency of staff and students over the work created through their empowered choices. I'm going to end it a little bit abruptly, and I'm just going to try and get back onto the Teams. So because the reason I want to do it this way is I presented this talk at a learning and teaching symposium about 1.5 years ago, and we had about half an hour to present, and we were still trying to get through the questions about half an hour later. And I feel like a discussion about this is more useful than me just sitting here and explaining what they all are. I'm just going to see if there are any questions.